Some game engines are simply a cut above the rest. One such engine is Decima. Now usually this is the part where I explain why it's so good, but do I really need to, because holy shit. The Decima Engine was developed internally by Guerrilla Games. Because of this, the very first game to use Decima was Killzone Shadowfall back in 2013, a launch game for the PlayStation 4. At the time, it was very impressive graphically, and still holds up today. Following this, the engine was used for Horizon Zero Dawn, before being licensed out to Kojima Productions to use for their game, Death Stranding. Then of course the sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, was the true glimpse into what the engine could really do, offering spectacular graphics with excellent performance. Similarly, the updated remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn brought the PS4 game up to par with Forbidden West's graphics. Now Death Stranding 2 is the most recent showcase of Decima Engine and what it can do, and is the first game exclusive to the PlayStation 5 that uses Decima. So let's talk about this engine in more detail. The visual fidelity this engine can achieve is hard to believe. From breathtaking vistas to minute details on textures, the environments in Death Stranding 2 and Forbidden West are simply incredible. The in-game character models are highly detailed, and the facial animations are some of the best in the industry. Aside from pure graphical fidelity, how this engine handles texture loading and texture details are extremely impressive. Specifically, the level of detail and how textures load in are nearly flawless. While other engines may suffer from textures popping in or not loading correctly, Decima handles it incredibly well. Yes, you can see textures loading in when looking very far in the distance, but it does not get much better than this. However, graphics are only half the conversation, because even though games using Decima are some of the best looking in the industry, the game still needs to perform well. When it comes to other engines, they may put out incredible visuals, but there are often compromises, usually in the form of lackluster performance or heavy upscaling. With Decima, that's not the case. Let's use Death Stranding 2 as an example. The performance mode on the base PlayStation 5 is 1440p while maintaining a steady 60 FPS, and it looks magnificent. The quality mode, on the other hand, is 4K and maintains 30 FPS. Not to mention the PS5 Pro version of the game also performs just as good at a higher graphical fidelity. No matter what graphics mode you choose, all these current-gen Decima games solidly maintain their FPS targets. And the most impressive feat is that all of this is being accomplished in breathtaking open worlds. It's hard enough for modern linear games to look and run well, so this all goes to show just how much Decima is on another level. Of course, these developers and teams are talented and are clearly utilizing Decima to its potential, but at the same time it shows just how impressive this engine is. Though we don't know everything about Decima since it's an internal engine, we can still see that there are even more impressive qualities to Decima. The engine is not only powerful, it is also versatile. Whether it's an open-world landscape, a dense forest, or a tight enclosed area, the engine maintains consistently great visual quality and detail. That Guerrilla Games got Forbidden West to look and run as good as it did on PS4 is hard to believe. But they did, and it's a great example of Decima's scalability. Additionally, Death Stranding 2 and other Decima games do not use ray tracing. Yet somehow they can still achieve exceptionally impressive reflections, shadows, and complex details and effects while maintaining its FPS targets. Then there are the load times. The load times for current-gen Decima games are insanely fast, and Death Stranding 2 may have the quickest load times I've ever seen, with them being nearly instant. Though the console's SSD is what allows the quick loading to exist, the game engine itself still needs to be compatible and correctly utilized in order to load games as quickly as they do. So, in conclusion, this engine's insane. Moving on, not everything is perfect. There is one major negative to Decima, though oddly enough it's nothing to do with the engine itself. The problem is that Guerrilla Games, a Sony-owned game studio, created and owns Decima Engine. Outside of Kojima Productions, the engine is not licensed out to other game studios or companies. It's an engine that is strictly made for PlayStation exclusives, and PC when they're ported later on. With how many issues some game engines have right now, it's a shame that engines like Decima are not licensed out. The more games that can look and run like Death Stranding 2 or Forbidden West, the better. Unfortunately, Sony likely won't ever widely license it out, as they probably want it to remain exclusive since it makes PlayStation titles feel and look premium. In other words, this is great for Sony, but it kinda sucks for everyone else. As another general note, I would have also liked to talk more about the specifics of the engine, but since it's a first-party engine, there's not a lot well known about it. Due to this, I cannot speak on how intuitive or user-friendly the engine is to use. I would assume it must be pretty intuitive given the quality of games that release, but regardless, I cannot make a proper comparison of Decima against other popular engines like Unreal Engine 5 or Unity. You can really only compare the end results, and all I know is Decima's end results are awesome at a technical level. Decima Engine and the games that use it are some of the most impressive looking titles in the industry. When people thought about what the next generation of games were going to be, this is what many imagined. Beautiful visuals with excellent performance. So, when games like these are so rare in the current industry, the truth is simply undeniable. Decima, without question, is currently one of the best engines in gaming. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.